everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Norwegian, but I lived in London for 7 years. I studied and then I just stayed there and messed around. In the 5 first years of living there, I moved 10 times. So I got some stories. I also worked my way around, like I did a lot of things. So I have my laptop with me. I thought we could go on a little Google Maps tour. I like making fun of our fuck-ups early in life. I now have my life very much figured out, so I think it's the perfect time to make fun of, I don't know if I should say reckless, but I know I lived a different lifestyle to a lot of my friends who chose the safe life in Norway. So first of all, I moved to Kingston upon Thames. It is, okay, I'm gonna show you the whole of London. This is where London is. London, England, specifically. Southeast of England. Okay. So I live down southwest, and that makes me think of Southwest trains. And if you know what I'm talking about, then not super impressed. Am I right? Okay, I lived in Kingston, and that's where I went to uni. That's where I applied because they have a great uni for international students. Okay, so this was my campus. This is where, you know, journalism and I don't know, social shit like that is. We can't get a very good view of this. I enjoyed the uni. I don't have any complaints really. I mean, it was really expensive. If you're from a country where education is free, then really think about whether you want to study abroad or not. I do not regret this, but you're gonna be paying for it for a long time. I'm paying some hefty amounts every month. Oh my god, fun fact, these buses, they were crazy. Oh my god, these people, these bus drivers, they woke up and they chose violence. So I lived up in Clayhill. Let's hope it puts us, yeah, okay, Burney Avenue. We always used to make jokes that Burney Avenue was the longest goddamn road because it took so long to walk down it. I lived, let's see if we can actually see it. Yeah, I lived in this building right here. So my flatmates were one British Pakistani guy who was really nice, but he was loud and messy and like, he had those qualities that you don't really want in a flatmate. And then I had a Chinese flatmate who only stayed in her room. Like she would just nip out to the kitchen, and if I was in the kitchen, it would just be her worst nightmare, which I do understand because I also wanted to use the kitchen on my own, especially because this guy was always commenting on my food. And this one time I was wearing a Run DMC shirt and he asked me what song was my favorite, and I said I didn't listen to them, and I will remember that for the rest of my life. I will not wear a band t-shirt again of a band I don't listen to. And then I had a different girl, but she moved out. I don't remember, but an Australian girl moved in and she was really fun. We would like hang out sometimes. This wasn't a bad place to live. It was just the fucking annoying flatmates who were dirty and messy, and it was disgusting. We would have these inspections, and if someone didn't do their job, like fucking, oh my god, you would get fined or whatever. Like it was so annoying. Like you would do your job and then they would mess it up and then you would still get charged for it. But the flat setups were okay because you had your own bathroom. Like you didn't have to share a bathroom. It could have been a lot worse, you know? But the showers were terrible. Like they would flood, and then the carpet in your room would get soaked and you would get silverfish, and ugh. It was a struggle, but you gotta start somewhere. You gotta do that, you know, in the movies where someone moves to a big city to make it and they end up in like a trash flat or something. You need to have that experience to grow, you know? It's all about personal development. This one time my friend from Norway came to stay, and we didn't sign her in. Like you needed to register if you had overnight guests and whatever. Well, we didn't do that. And then in the morning the fire alarm went off and we ran outside, and they went around and asked everyone like what room they're in, just to check that everyone's accounted for, of course. And they got to my friend and she said that she's staying with me, and they turned to me and they were like, well, is she signed in? And I was like, well, she just arrived this morning, when we were like wearing pajamas, like fully had like bed hair. Like you could tell that we just woke up, but I am not a great liar and we did not get in trouble. I guess she just could not be bothered to do paperwork. I don't know, but she just let it go. And that was amazing. Also, fun story, when I moved out from there, I went to get the bus to get to town so that I could get the bus to Heathrow. And as I like sat on the bus, I'd waited forever. I don't know what was going on. This was one of those scary bus drivers. And as the bus left, I saw that I forgot my skateboard like on the bench outside. And I was like, fuck. Do I leave my skateboard? Do I ask him to let me off? But I wasn't brave enough to ask him to wait like 10 seconds for me to go and retrieve the skateboard and get back on the bus. So I just got off the bus and walked to town with a fucking heavy suitcase. Like as I was walking, I was like, I need to call a cab, I need to call a cab, I need to call a cab, I need to call a cab. And I obviously didn't. I was broke as hell when I lived here. I moved to London in September, and in December, the Norwegian currency crashed. Some bad shit happened to the economy at that point, and it was really bad. bad. Everything was so expensive, and I had to pay all of this money in student loans, in tuition. Well, basically student loans. That's what I'm doing now. That's what I'm paying. But tuition got so much more expensive because the currency, like the Norwegian currency, weakened so much. I tried to not, spend money on a cab and stuff like that. So after this, your first year of uni, you kind of spend that time finding people you want to live with the second and third year, but hopefully you make the right decision. I did not. I made a horrible decision, terrible decision. Should never have done this, but let's go to where we lived. There's basically South Kingston and North Kingston, and Kingston, of course. But South Kingston is called Surbiton and North Kingston is called Norbiton. So that is kind of funny. We lived over here. Yeah, I don't use addresses at all. I'm just gonna, be plopping around here. But I remember where it is. Usually it's easier for me to just go to the place than to try and find the address, because I don't have these written down anymore. I deleted all of them. I lived here. This was the flat, and this was an okay place to live. It was nice because it was a busy street, so it wasn't scary walking home. It was definitely better than the place I lived before, because it had that long ass road you had to walk home from the station, and being by yourself, that was kind of scary because it's dark. But here, there's always traffic, so it was fine. But as I said, I moved in with the wrong people, and I didn't know what to do because I don't like conflicts, and I also just didn't know how to say I need to move out because this is not good for my mental health. But I did. We're not gonna go into too much details about this because I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's so long ago. But in general, I do feel that in Norway we're way more straightforward, and we don't dilly-dally around whatever is going on. We're not just passive aggressively trying to let someone know that we're upset at them. We kind of just tell people, we talk. But now also I'm an adult. I wasn't an adult back then. I hadn't developed all my people skills yet. I also am neurodivergent, so a lot of things just I don't pick it up. So you kind of need to tell me how you're feeling, and if I'm doing something wrong, just let me fucking know. I can't always tell that I'm doing something weird or wrong or pissing someone off or hurting someone's feelings or whatever. So it's kind of I need people to be more straightforward, and I find that in London, of course, I have only lived in London, and London is also a super diverse place. So it's not it's just British people or just American people or just Spanish people or whatever. It's the culture of not just telling people how you feel is really weird to me. And I don't blend well. Anyway, I moved to a different place. This was very scary because I had to make all the decisions. I went to uni and I asked them, the accommodation office, and I asked them if they had anywhere that I could move to, because I was really having a rough time with the fucking housing. So I randomly went to a viewing down here. This person at the office just called someone who lived there, and they were like, yeah, we're home. And then I went there, and just seeing this building, seeing the facade, it makes me happy, because this was such a happier home than the one I just came from. So we lived up here. This was my room, actually. When I came to the viewing, the people who lived there, their names were Reese and Amy, and they turned out to be some of my greatest friends that I had in London. When I came to the viewing, they were super fun, and I was just like, oh my god, this is what I want. And it wasn't super dirty. I'm not gonna say they're the cleanest people in the world, but it was cleaner than what I had. So when I moved in there, it was super fun, and they helped me, and it was so nice. But I also had to deal with the stress of trying to find someone to replace me in that old flat, so I had to pay double rent, which was terrible. I was so stressed out about rent, and it was so much money, and I didn't have a job at this point, but I started working shortly after this. The estate agents actually messed up, and because I found someone to move in, and then they messed up and took way too long to go through her references and shit, and then she couldn't just wait forever, and they said oh, we'd made a mistake. And I was like, well, should I keep paying rent if you all are messing up? And they were like, well, we can't do anything about it, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, fuck. It was so stressful. I feel like I could have enjoyed everything more if I wasn't in such a stressed place all the time. But living in London was real stressful for me. Most of the time I was fucking stressed. But living with Reese and Amy was super fun. We would just chill and play Mario Party and have fun and do all of these random ass things. It was that fun, the college experience, that fun thing about living with friends that you can feel comfortable with and have fun with, and not feel like, fuck, they're coming into the kitchen when I'm here, because we were actually friends. And as I said, I got a job while I lived here. So that was a thing. I started working at Krispy Kreme, and I've made a video about working at Krispy Kreme, and oh my god, this place! So this is also like the factory, like in London. I think that this is the only one in London, I don't know. The best thing about it was when they would make the hot donuts, like the original glazed, and I could just take them and like smush them in my face, I would just eat them in one bite. I miss that. I miss that so much. That was so good. When they're just coming out of the oven, they're super hot and soft. Like you don't need to chew. Like you can basically just swallow it whole. Like it's so fucking good. I would get so many free donuts all the time. Oh my god, do they still have Krispy Kreme is bringing back the Reese's peanut butter? Oh my god, they dropped the fucking Reese's peanut butter donut? Are they stupid? That was my favorite. I met a lot of fun people here that I wouldn't have met otherwise. People that I still treasure and people that I still remember and I will remember forever. It was a lot of fun, but it was so chaotic. The management was so bad and they would just suddenly change the opening hours and be like, well, now we're gonna have people scheduled to like drive through to like 1 a.m. but we're not gonna tell you that this is what it is. We're just gonna start scheduling you. And I don't want to be at work alone till fucking 1 a.m. Obviously the factory workers were there, so I wasn't alone, but a lot of them couldn't speak English. But god damn, the management was just so bad. But all of the things I'm talking about now, like this is ages ago, so it's not really like, I worked there in 2016, you know, like this is probably not relevant anymore. It's been fucking 8 years. This is what I would do, you know, like my life was a movie at this point. Like in London, my life was a movie. So much weird shit happened, but every night when I would go home, like it would be super fucking late, and I would stand over here and like wait for the bus, and then I would get on the bus. Everything was dark. It was all like people either like going home from work or coming back from work or like whatever, going to work, I mean, because you know people work at, oh, like London does not sleep. Something is always happening. People are always at work and all of that. So yeah, this was a proper night bus. It has a lot of weird people, but luckily it always has people. So it's not like I'm sitting on the bus like by myself. And I would listen to Billy Joel's Down Easter Alexa, and if you haven't heard that song, please go listen to it, because you will understand like what I mean by me sitting there in my dramatic thoughts, like, oh my god, the grind, like going home from work so late, it's dark and I'm just by myself, you know, like I'm just a little girl like trying to make it in a big city. I work at a Krispy Kreme, like I'm working in a donut shop. This is my first time ever working a service job. Like it's my first time working in London, and in Norway people don't ask, like people don't flirt, like ask for people's numbers and do shit like that. Oh my god, I fully had like a partner at this point. Well, I've skipped past like 2 relationships, I think. I totally just ignored my love life. Well, I had 2 good people in my life. They were short relationships, but good. I have no beef with these people. But here, unfortunately, I do meet a person who fucks up my life terribly. In general, I don't regret stuff, and I don't regret this because I don't think it was my fault. And I have worked through this with my psychiatrist, okay? So you don't need to be worried about me. I'm doing fine. I'm not gonna go too much in detail about this because that's not what this video is about. But if there is one person I could just delete from my life that would never come into my life, it would be this person. No doubt about it. I could easily just go without all the experiences I had with this person, even if they were good. Like, I absolutely do not need this person in my bank of memories. I could do completely fine without. Actually, sometimes think about how good of a person I would be if I was still if I didn't have this huge negative experience. But I also did learn from it, and you just need to look at that. You just need to think about like the learning experiences or the lessons you can take from something. You can't really just focus on everything would have been so good if I didn't meet this person, because I don't really know what that's gonna get me, because I can't undo history. So yeah, as I said, people would, you know, check me out, ask for my number, do shit like that. And unfortunately I ended up in a relationship with a person who was abusive, emotionally and physically abusive to me. It was not a good time. That actually just heavily impacts the next like couple of years in London. Oh my god, I forgot we're in New Malden now. Let's look at Kingston. Maybe something's happened. So this is the high street. Oh my god, this was not here when I lived here. Oh my god, I would have loved this store. Oh my god. So how is everything looking? Well, I mean, it kind of looks the same. Yeah, as you can tell, like, this is not scripted. I'm just trying to, well, have fun with this, as you can see. Let's just check out, like, this little bit. I want to see what's going on here. This actually hasn't changed very much. Now that we've done the sightseeing that we needed to. Oh! Got a tattoo there. So where are we now? Yeah, okay, let's move on. For the summer, I moved into my friend Elena's room in Oak Hill in Surbiton. So this was a cute ass house. Where is it? Oh, it's there. So I moved in with my friend Kadeem and this other person who was a fucking dirty ass person who would just leave mess everywhere and not clean and whatever. My friend Elena was abroad for the summer, so I moved into her room because I needed somewhere to stay because the lease was up in the flat I shared with Reese and Amy. So I moved in there. I only lived here for a summer. Again, I was just broke, so like I didn't, you know, I tried to just not spend a lot of money on anything at all. I basically mostly just remember like all the drama that I had with my ex. They lived in a different part of London and I waited for them at the station because they didn't want to like pay parking or whatever, so I would need to go and walk up to this like this dark road and wait by a hotel. They said they were gonna pick me up, but then they wouldn't leave the house until I was like at the station. So I was waiting in this like dark ass place and I got robbed. It was not dramatic. Person stole 20 pounds from me, did not get hurt. It was not a dangerous situation, I wouldn't say, even though like obviously it was bad, but that happened because well, you know when someone treats you like shit but you don't know how bad they're treating you until someone's treating you really well? Let's just say this would not happen with my partner today. So after this, I moved in with my friend Kadeem and his friend Raphael. We really wanted to live in central London, but we could not afford to live in central London. Like we would be walking around in like, oh my god, what is this place called? Islington. Oh my god, we really wanted to live in Islington. You know, if you thought about like living in London, you just thought about it like without thinking about a budget, wouldn't you just think of this? Wouldn't this literally be what you expected? Well, we lived in Elephant and Castle, which is, it was always fun telling people because they thought it was a really fun name. Okay, where's Old Kent Road? Oh my god, here it is. Keelan House. So we lived up here. First of all, like when we even went to this viewing, the pictures they had used in the listing were not the right pictures, but it was still like a nice flat, so we ended up living there. But there was one like huge room and two smaller rooms, and we just basically picked a name out of a hat to see which one would get the big room because we didn't want it, like none of us wanted to pay more rent. We didn't want to, you know, like one of us choose the big room and then pay more rent because that would have been fair. But instead what we did, we would rent out one of the rooms on Airbnb and then Raphael would sleep in my room so that we could make some extra money because it was fucking expensive. Like we were like all three of us like working jobs to like we were working a lot to afford, because it's not just the living cost. Because we moved to like central London, basically we had to pay like so much in transport. This was obviously not a money move. Like this was just because we wanted to live in central, and I don't regret it. Like it was fun. This is not the only stupid money decision I've made in London. So yeah, we all worked in coffee shops, so we all started early, and in our like stairs, homeless people would sleep there sometimes or hang out there and poop there. So when we like walked down there at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., like we did not know what to expect, and we were scared like every time, every single morning. Like we were scared, and coming home as well, like we just never knew who's gonna be in the stairs because it wasn't closed off, so anyone could just come in there and chill in the stairs. And of course like it's fucking cold because it's open, but it's better than being on the street, I guess. I don't blame people for wanting to stay like a little bit warmer or just get shelter from the wind or rain or whatever, but it was very uncomfortable. But they never did anything to us. Like it was just their presence, and it was just us being scared that they were gonna do something because we don't know them. Like we don't know what they're gonna do. But I mean, it went fine except for some poop. So when I lived here, I started working at Starbucks. Both Kadeem and I really wanted to work at Starbucks, so we did. We applied to the same store, I'm pretty sure, but we just did not. Oh my god, we like literally walked around central London. We just walked around like la 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 with our CVs and like handed them out. This one store that we went to, the manager was clearly like desperate for people, and he was like, well yeah, can you come for interviews? And he was basically asking us like, when can you start? He was clearly like super desperate for people, and we both ditched our interviews. Sometimes you know that like you're walking into a dumpster fire like at a new job and you don't want to do that, but I basically did that anyway because I started working at Holborn. And if I can recommend one thing, I'm gonna say do not work there. Let's see if the store still exists, because this store, they were fucking struggling. They were also like desperate for people. It's down here. No. Next corner, maybe. There's a coffee shop there, we can see. Oh, 99, it is that one, but... It closed! Wait, what does it say? We're developing Kingsway House to provide blah, 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 grade A office space. Oh my god, they fully closed that Starbucks. Shit. But I mean, all of this happened pre-pandemic, like me working here and all of this. But there is a Starbucks down here as well. I'm wondering how that went. Is this it? Okay, so it's still there. I think we applied to this one as well. So I had an interview with the Starbucks at Waterloo downstairs. The upstairs one is a franchise. If that hasn't changed, of course, I don't know anything anymore. I'm not updated on any, oops, shit, sorry. Let's go. I don't think we can see anything from here. And it would have been here. I don't know if this will be visible. Because there's McDonald's in there, but I can't see the Starbucks, but I don't know if it's still there. Like, I don't know, shit. Oh, there's a Starbucks sign. So, there's a Starbucks. I interviewed there first, and I loved the manager. This is probably not a good thing, but he asked me why I left my last job, and I said it was because the management was terrible, and he was like really sympathetic, and like it really validated me. Still, I ended up working in the Holborn one. I don't remember if I got an offer. Like, I don't remember any of this, like how stuff happened. So I went to work in the Holborn one, and it was fucking terrible. It was my first time working at Starbucks. Like, I hadn't worked there before, and basically, I'm a customer person. I'm not really a make drinks really fast in a very efficient way kind of person. So I would always just kind of be on tills and like be putting donuts in boxes. And I didn't get any training basically because, you know, when you start working somewhere that doesn't have their shit together, no one has time to train you. And suddenly like this coordinator, oh my God, I wish I remembered her name because I would like to look her up, but I don't remember. But suddenly she started yelling at me like on the floor, shop floor. Like there were customers in the shop and she just started being like, you don't do anything right, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I haven't gotten trained. I don't know anything. Like, I am serving customers. Like, what are you talking about? I'm doing shit. But I think she was very much one of those, I'm having a bad day, so I'm gonna let it, I'm gonna let it out on you. She's one of those people that probably shouldn't have been given power. The manager was nice to me. And the other, like, there was a different coordinator who was very nice to me. And she still likes my pictures on Facebook, so that's sweet. But that manager left because he was like exhausted with the state of the store. And the store wasn't even like really approved to be a store. Like, it wasn't, the facilities weren't really good enough, so it wasn't easy to have it, function, and it was super tiny. Oh my God. If you go into a Starbucks in like central London and you think they have a lot of storage space back there, they have nothing. Like, you think they have a proper office, no. They have like maybe a desk and an ice machine, and people are like trying to eat their lunch in there, but there are no seats. So, like, they don't have any room. And I did not like it at all. I don't remember how I got in touch with the manager at Waterloo, the one that I had loved. He was opening a store in the Shard Arcade, so it's by London Bridge, and I don't know if we can actually like get in here, so we need to go like around. I don't know if we can get in. It looks kind of weird. Oh shit. Okay, it just sends us upstairs. So basically, this is the Shard. It's a fancy ass building and it has lots of cool things. He was opening up a new Starbucks there and I got recruited into his team. I don't remember how this happened, but he was just like, yes, come work for me. And I got to leave that store, and this was amazing. I loved working in this store, and I loved it so much that I made a video on my YouTube channel of like when I left Starbucks, like my last day at Starbucks. I vlogged it because this manager was amazing. Fucking validated his staff. Like, he actually saw his staff and understood them and appreciated them and all of that. Like, it was so good. I fucking loved working there. It was so good. Of course, it was exhausting because you start really early because you have to open, super early when people go to work. But the customers were amazing because we had very few tourists. We had people going to work because when I worked in the Holborn store, I had to cover a shift, not even an entire shift, but just a few hours, I think, of the store that's opposite the British Museum. And if you don't know anything about London, like the British Museum, it's a tourist trap. Like there's so many tourists and they come to the Starbucks, of course, and they don't speak any English. And I had a lot of frustrating interactions with customers there. And I'm not saying like you have to speak English, but it's just like, if you don't know English, like try and at least navigate a little bit. I don't know, look at the menu and try to figure out like how to tell me what you want. Like it was just very frustrating. But working at that Starbucks was really nice, but it was exhausting. I would go to work from like 6 to 10 and then I would go to uni, and I would do that every day. And my ex would still be, terrorizing me and stuff. And when I could finally sleep in on the weekends, they would set an alarm at like 7 to wake me up, and I couldn't go back to sleep. If I wake up in the morning, I can't really go back to sleep. So I would just be awake and not get to sleep in for no reason at all. Like, and then they would just continue sleeping. So it was just stuff like that. Like, all around terrible relationship. When I moved out the Old Kent Road house, I moved in with my ex for a month because we were gonna travel. Obviously they're not gonna show you their house because I'm sure the family still lives there. It was super nice that their parents let me stay there, and I did leave them like rent money when I moved out. But I mean, I moved all my things in there and like they stored all my stuff for a month and I lived there. Not everyone would do that, you know? Like I had a really good relationship with their parents. They were really nice to me. It was just a shame that their kid was a horrible person to me. So it wasn't very easy to, you know, like stay there for a month. But after that, I moved in with my friend Amy. So I moved back to Kingston, actually back to Surbiton, if we're being exact here. This was a beautiful area. Oh my God, I actually almost got there on the first try. So this is a very, very basic house. Like it looks like just any old British house. This is where we lived. This was our flat. This was our kitchen. This was my room. The whole flat was like, because I was traveling, like I was abroad, so Amy had to find the flat, and for some reason, like, she hadn't noticed this, but when I got in there, if anyone has seen How I Met Your Mother, like when Marshall and Lily buy their flat and Marshall walks in and realizes that the flat is like crooked, that was me like walking in there. It was crooked. There was duct tape on the floor. Like there were all these like weird ass solutions. It was a weird ass flat. Like it was so weird, but it was still kind of nice. We had like a spare room. We had a big bathroom. Like it was nice, but I was really unhappy at this point because of my ex who was terrible to me, and also, like, I didn't have a job. Like, when I got back from traveling, I didn't have a job lined up. It was just a stressful time. I was in a really, really bad place. And we didn't get that, like, roommate situation that we had imagined because I wasn't in, like, the mood or in the right space to, like, just have fun and do all of these fun things because I was just in a really bad place. Then I got a job at a call center, and the campaign I was working at was for the Disney store, so I got to like basically work at Disney again. Before I moved to London, I lived in Florida and I did the Disney program, so I worked at Disney World for a year, and that was super fun, obviously. I loved it. And then I kind of got a little bit of that experience again, even though it was as customer service, so it was kind of just fixing up solutions and you know, all of that. But I got to be really magical, and oh my God, the customers fucking loved me. But this was only a campaign like pre-Christmas. So when I went home for Christmas, like I left that job, or it ended. They didn't have like spots for people to stay on permanently, which I wanted to do because I wanted to have a job. When I came back, I did some like work through an agency. I've talked about this before in my How to Move to London video, but just basically just Google like Norwegian job London. You can use your language skills to get a job, and I did these random jobs for this agency, and basically I came into this office and I called people in Norway and asked about like their printer service experience, like how happy were you with the service you had done on your printer. So it was really fucking random, and most people do not want to be called and asked questions about the fucking printer service they had done because people are too busy for that. So it's basically, you know, those like feedback emails that you get that you ignore. This was like 3 steps above that. And then they wanted me to start permanently because I think they struggled finding Norwegian people. And at the same time, I got an interview at that call center that I just worked at, but this time it was for Bosch Power Tools. Not an interest of mine, but I wanted a job, and I wanted a job locally because this job I could actually, you know, like walk to. I was not an adult back then, and I took the job, and then I just emailed the people like that expected me to come in at this other, like, I guess you could call it a call center, but whatever thing this was, like the night before or something, and I was like, I'm sorry, I can't start. I don't know what I even said. I just told them I couldn't come in and I wouldn't be taking the job and whatever. And they were so sweet. They actually went to like the security people and like made me like a key card to get in. I was a bad person. But I am so fucking glad this happened. I'm so fucking glad I did this because it changed my life forever. When I started working at this call center, the Nordic languages were like, or the Nordic market was kind of sat in the same place, and the Norwegian and Swedish market was sat right next to each other. And this was my back, and this was the back of my now partner who lives with me in Norway and whose child I have in my belly. Okay, how soppy can I get? But you know, like, I don't remember when we talked about this in uni, but how every choice you make, it kind of like weaves your life together, and like everything leads to the next thing. That's also why I don't regret things, because something happens, you know, it takes you to the next thing, and then like if this hadn't happened, maybe this wouldn't have happened and all of that. Right after I started there, I went through the breakup with my abusive ex and it was really hard to deal with, even though it was obviously a good thing, but I was manipulated as fuck, so I couldn't really see that. I was just fucking sad, and I felt like shit because this person had made me feel like shit, but now where's my worth? You know, like I hadn't been able to see my self-worth for like a long time, so it was just really difficult to deal with, like, okay, this person just treated me like shit and they just got to leave me, and what? You know, like, I don't know. It was so weird to deal with. But it also led to, like, as I was fresh out of a breakup, as I was getting to know my now partner, we got to start off as friends. And if there was one thing I feel like just worked for me relationship wise, because this is like one of the only times I got to start off with someone like as a friend. Like, we were friends for like 3 or 4 months before anything romantic happened, and this was just the best way to do it. Like, oh my god, it was so much better starting off as friends and actually knowing each other before we started dating. But I think as people who are in like long-term happy relationship, we need to take a fucking step back and be humble and not be like, well, this is how you should do it, because it's not that easy to just meet people organically. And if I was single now, well, if I was single now, I would not be dating because I would be a single mom. But if I was single now at 31, I think I would be pretty pissed off if someone told me that I just need to meet someone organically and just take it easy and be friends first, because I don't have fucking time for that. Like, if I was single now, I would fully need to just make a choice. Like, how many years do I give myself to find the right person before I just go onto the solo parenting adventure? Let's call it an adventure. Because, you know, you have to choose what's important to you, and you don't necessarily have time to just wait to meet someone organically. But okay, that is a whole different topic that we don't really need to cover in this video, but I tried to squeeze as much as possible into this video. Apparently, I'm sorry, this is probably gonna be an hour long, but I don't really care. This sums up a huge chunk of my life, so it's fine. But I fucking love watching these kinds of videos from others, because it just shows that like everyone makes mistakes, everyone fucks up, everyone has like a weird ass story, but you can, you know, make it like, you can make it, things can work out for you. So I think these videos are, in some weird way, they're inspirational, and I hope this can serve that purpose for you. Okay, so let's continue on and talk about work. After working at the call center for a few months, I realized that I really needed to do something creative. It wasn't fulfilling, like the job wasn't rewarding to me. Like, I love working with customers and, you know, all of that, but I really prefer seeing the customers face to face. And I had found a lot more satisfaction in like working at Starbucks, but I had finished uni, so I really needed to feel like I used my degree to some extent. So like, I really just saved up like all my money, all my paychecks, like I would just save it up, and I left the job and wanted to focus on creative work. So I kind of did freelancing. So I worked on different projects and stuff, and I did this in central London. My memory card got full, so I had to wait for it to transfer, and I was hungry, so I made myself some pancakes. It's starting to get dark, and I don't want to get my ring light out because that is effort. Anyway, we got to my Bridget Jones moment. I hadn't watched Bridget Jones at this point, and also she's crossing Tower Bridge, not London Bridge. Anyway, I was feeling super inspired, was listening to like music. I was doing creative stuff that made me feel stimulated, and I was also crushing on someone. So, you know, all of these feelings together, I was feeling pretty darn good right here. Still had a lot of baggage to deal with though, but that's gradual. And now I want to check out the area where we lived, because I want to see like what's happened around there. There was a real cute like coffee shop that was dog friendly, so there were dogs there like inside, and it was super cute. Let's see, because there's a little bit of a like shop area right here, you know, like corner shops and stuff, and of course like funeral directors, and estate agents, like they're everywhere. But now it's a nail spa. But I mean, I'm glad it's going well, because it's existed for a few years, so that is a good sign. And a Lundis, yeah, I would stop by there to get ice cream sometimes. But look at this area, like this was very nice. I actually came here to like skateboard a couple of times, like long before like when I lived in the student accommodation, but it was just very nice, not super trafficked, and just like had somewhat nice curbs, but like it's so hard to skate. Like, look at the curbs here. They're just so wonky. Skating with like a regular skateboard with small wheels. No, look at this. Like, there's so many things on the sidewalk. So I was still working with this agency, and they got me one of the coolest jobs I've had. So we're gonna head over to Brentford. Okay, and if we look up here, we're gonna see a familiar face. Yes, there he is. It's Sonic. Yes, you guessed correctly. I worked at Sega. So this was super fun. I was a QA tester, so you do quality assurance. You test whatever, like you go through a whole game, like testing, doing everything so that you know there are no bugs and whatever. And of course there's still gonna be bugs when games are released. If you've played a new game straight from the shop, you know this. There's lots of patches that need to go out before the game is fully playable. This was a super fun job, and it was, you know, like it's all like nerds or geeky people, and just, you know, it's all like fun people working there. So oh my god, I met so many cool people there that really made an impact in my life. I just really appreciate like what Sega gave me like socially. And also, well, he's gonna be mad if I don't say this, so I really appreciate Sega for introducing me to Finn. Hello Finn. And I also forgot to say this about Starbucks. When I worked at Starbucks, like the Shard Arcade one, oh my god, the people there really made an impact too, and really just gave me so much, and working with them was very rewarding. Especially my friend Issa, my Polish friend, who is a Londoner, not Polish. We hung out a lot after I left the job, and it was just super fun. I have so many good memories and people that I remember and all of that from like all places I've been. But when I worked at Sega, that was a difficult time in my life. I wanted to live in a more like fun place. Our lease was up. I didn't find place in time, so I moved into Airbnbs, but I also like stayed with my friend. I was under the impression that I could just, you know, keep living there, and then they kind of threw me out for a weird reason, but I'm not gonna go into it because it's not really, I don't want this video to be filled with drama, and unfortunately my London life is filled with drama, and it's so nice to be in Norway, like chill and not have drama. Oh, it's getting dark too fast. My life was proper like soap opera at this time. One of my friends would say that all the time. Novi, if for any reason at all you would be watching this. But honestly, working at Sega was so much fun, and like through the working day, every break, because you can't bring your phone inside, because obviously they don't want you messing with the games or like taking pictures, or you can't take memory sticks or like anything inside, anything that can save anything on it. Every break I would just be like looking at ads to find a place to live. So people would be sat there like in a fun conversation, and I would be like manically just scrolling because I needed to find a place to live. But I lived in Airbnbs and it worked fine. Just different areas around here, and actually some further away, but it was, oh my god, this place. Oh my god, I love this place. This was the best coffee I had in London. It's like themed after Oswald Cobblepot from Batman. Like, I don't know Batman that well. Like, I had never heard of him before I heard of Oswald, not Batman. Of course I'd heard of Batman, but it's not like I know that villain, but I love themed places, and it's so well done that like you don't really need to know him to go there and enjoy it. Okay, yeah, so my Sega days. So I went through like a lot of upheaval in my life. Several things were happening to my friends at this time, and I was trying to deal with that as well, because when something bad happens to your friends, like that affects you as well. So I was just dealing with a lot of things, both my own things and other people's things, and it was just such a like rough time. Once I, you know, finished living in Airbnbs, I moved to Witten. I lived on like the end bit of this road. I don't even know if I can recognize the house. I don't know, might have been this house. I don't actually remember. Yeah, I think it was that house. Maybe it was that white house. Like, I don't know, I don't remember. But I just thought like, I'll just live like with someone else for the time being, and then figure out like whatever I'm doing, because you know it's expensive to live in Airbnbs, and fortunately like I was making okay money, so it was fine. Like I was staying afloat, but it gets exhausting. Like I would go to like Pizza CZ's or Pizza Express, I don't remember which one it is, but one of them did like a deal with O2, which was my phone carrier, that you could get dinner for £5, and I would go there all the time to eat dinner, because most Airbnbs don't have kitchens, and I didn't want to spend all that money. Like, you know, you need to be able to like make food. It was really annoying to have to like eat out all the time and just get like sandwiches and whatever, because I couldn't make lunch even for work. But luckily Sega had free cereal in the morning, so I did enjoy that. So I moved into this house that had an Indian couple and a couple with an Indian guy and a Polish lady, and they had a child. That was the dynamic of the household, and I lived like on top, like with my own bathroom and bedroom. And the kid was like always around, because I feel like the woman was kind of like working nights, and then at daytime she had to take care of the kid, and she was really tired, so she probably, I don't know, maybe like went and slept, and like the kid just ran around. It was like a year and a half old. She would like grab things from the counter when I was cooking, and like one time I'd like minced all of these like vegetables, and she just grabbed the cutting board and like threw it all on the ground. That's not the kid's fault. Like, what do you expect from a kid that young? But anyway, it did get a little bit exhausting, even though she was really cute. But it was really weird, like living with 4 people, like, okay, 5 people who like knew each other and whatever, and I was just like the odd one out. And I did tell my landlord, like the dad, he was just subletting the room, whatever. I told him that I worked at Sega, but my contract ended like right after because the QA is just done like right before the game is released. So I only worked there for 4 months or something, but I didn't want him to know that I didn't have a job. So I would like walk down to, I don't know where the Twickenham High Street is. I think it's here. Yeah, I would just go down here and like one day I would just sit in Starbucks, and one day, I think they're over here. And then one day I would sit in, I don't know, like Cafe Nero or whatever, and I would just like sit there and work. Luckily, like he didn't pay attention to my work hours or like when I used to come home and whatever. So he didn't really like think twice about me like suddenly coming home earlier. I didn't sit there all day. Like I probably went to like Costa and then for a few hours, and then I went to Starbucks for a few hours, like ridiculously. And I didn't have like money coming in, obviously, so I think I just like, I had to get that one drink that I needed to get to be able to sit there, and then I would just, you know, like not get any more stuff. Like I don't know, times were silly. And then I started working at Coopel. Let's see if we can find Coopel's head office or whatever. Let's see here. Wait, is this... What the hell? This doesn't tell me anything. Maybe this is just their offices and this is not where... I don't remember being here. This is not where I came to do this. Because you have to go in and register. It's a recruiter, so they have an app and they put out shifts and you can pick up shifts. I actually thought I should make a video about my experience with them, but then it's been, you know, a few years. So I think my experience is kind of like outdated or inaccurate or whatever, but as you can see, like they have pretty good reviews. It was amazing for me, who was like between jobs. Most of the shifts were like, some of them were in like random places, you know, like coffee shops and stores and whatever, like you just kind of come in for like a day or a week. I did a lot of work in Camden. I worked in Camden Market. Like I don't remember, like there's a company that just owns all of the coffee shops and snack bars and restaurants and whatever. They would have this horrible management. There were like fucking 100 managers. Everyone came around and were like blah blah blah. And it was so bad. Like one of the managers was just terrible, and I'm pretty sure like he was hitting on me at some point, but I don't remember exactly what happened. I just remember I was hella uncomfortable, and I like fully called them and I was like, I can't do any more of these shifts. And it was kind of like far from where I was living, so I had to, you know, like get the overground and like go home. Like I was back in the, you know, I'm just trying to make it in London kind of mode, I guess. Then, because my CV was out on these, you know, job seeking websites, this guy called me. And we had a full conversation in English, even though I could tell he was Norwegian. And he was talking about like his company, he wanted to set up an interview, blah, blah, blah. And he just glorified his company and what I would be doing. I went for an interview and he was talking about how I could be like blogging and, you know, like doing all of this like content creation basically. He was just trying to make the job title sound like my CV or like my degree and, you know, what I clearly wanted to do. And I started and I was basically just a sales assistant, sales support. I think I was finally put down on as on the website, but there were two different fucking companies, so I had two different roles and it was so confusing. We were outside of London actually, not too far. Like it was not a long commute at all. It was pretty good. I'm not gonna show you because it's a family company and I've googled them and it looks like they're still going on, so I'm not gonna like out them because it's not just this manager it affects, but this was a pig of a person. Like he was fucking terrible. And because like everyone who worked there were Norwegian and Swedish, it felt like a homey environment. The pay was ridiculous because I got hired and I was just left on my own. I got no training. I didn't know what to do, but I knew that he wasn't happy with what I did because I didn't do enough, but I also didn't know what to do and I would ask and it was just bad. This person just wanted young Scandinavian women to work for him. So that's how I qualified. I wasn't qualified as a salesperson. Like I wasn't good at this kind of stuff and the job was very unfulfilling. So every morning when he came to work, like he would hug us all. He would usually like grab our butts. Like that was not weird. One time he kissed me on the lips. Fully kissed me on the lips, but he was paying so well. Like I just got so much money thrown at me at this job. This person basically just wanted a lot of sugar babies. So yeah, that's how that worked. But I mean, don't do this. If you get a job and the manager treats you like you're an object and pays you well, don't stay. It's just terrible. But I stayed, and it let me leave the house frequently every day at a scheduled time without having to, you know, pretend that I was working. Because if your reality is like pretending to have a job, then you do want to start working. The person who actually owned the house wanted it back or something. Like, we had to move, all of us, and I continued to sublet a place from this Indian guy, like the landlord, because I wasn't fully like ready to move yet. Like, I don't know. And we moved to this different house. I'm not gonna show you the house. It was in Isleworth, which is not too far away from Twickenham, whatever. The house was in absolute state when we got there, but the people who lived there before had trashed it, so I had to just clean this fucking place that I wanted, like the room that I wanted to move into, because I had the same setup, like a room with a bathroom. And I'm not gonna show you where it is because this family might still live there, but I doubt it, but I don't know anything about them. Living there was hella weird. One time he came up, like the smoke alarm went off, and he came up in my room and he was like, did you smoke weed? And he was clearly high, so I was like, why are you blaming me? Like, what the hell? One time they all got in a huge argument, but they were talking in Urdu, so I didn't understand. My partner speaks it, so I was like sending a clip being like, can you tell me what this means? Because like, what the hell are they arguing about? Because it's really uncomfortable, and they were like screaming at each other, and oh my lord, you know, that's hella uncomfortable. And I was like cooking or something, so I couldn't just leave the kitchen, but they were like screaming like crazy. But we have reached the 10th or 11th place now, which is the last place. So let's go. I'm pretty sure like when I got my first paycheck from this job, I just wanted to move immediately, because then I had money for like a new deposit and I could pay rent living by myself. So I moved to this studio flat in this building right here. Yeah, it was opposite the fire station. So every time I talked to someone on the phone, they were like, oh my god, because of course, like in London, the fire trucks come out all the time. This is the building. It looks very weird. This was my window. They also had a weird solution with the curtain, because the window is so tall and getting, you know, tailored curtains is fucking 400 pounds. So I had to buy like this one set of curtains and then another set of curtains, and I stapled them together. It actually didn't look that bad. I had a studio flat, which was amazing. Of course, I really should have like found cheaper accommodation, like lived with someone and paid less, but I was so ready to live on my own. Like, I was so ready to not have flatmates. I think my rent was $7.75 a month, including nothing. So I had to pay like utilities and council tax on top of that. So I stayed working at that weird place to afford this, but at some point, you know, like you can't keep doing that to yourself. So I went back to Koopel. One of the places I worked at a lot was SAP. It's this grocery delivery company, and it was super fun. It's not like, this is just a warehouse basically, but what we would do is like putting out all the stock and whatever, like stocking the shelves and all of that. I did this in Wembley as well. Oh shit, it went out quite a bit. And I did it in, I don't know, Wandsworth and some other places. I did meet some cool people here as well, but this is just like, you pick up shifts, so you never know like when people are gonna be there. And I did meet this really cool person who was super nice, and whenever we would be at the same job, we would be so happy, because like you just don't know. And he didn't have social media. It was hard work, but I would just try to do as many hours as possible to get money, because they paid like decently. But when I was working, I was always trying to do these like silly travel solutions. Like I would get just buses, like I would travel there by just bus. So I would get the bus hopper fare, and I would like get off, or if I took the train, I would get off at like an earlier stop if that would put me in a different zone so that it would be cheaper. Like I was doing all of these things to save money. I also got this like freelance gig from like this text producing company, whatever. So I did some stuff through there, and I also did like transcriptions. So like subtitling Norwegian like lectures and all of this. Transcribing doesn't pay a lot of money in my experience, but it's still like you can do it from home. It's better than not having a job that you can do. I wasn't in a place where I like saved money, thought about my future. So I'm trying to catch up now. I'm playing catch up in my early 30s, because I wanted to live like a crazy person in my 20s. But I mean, it was super fun. I really enjoyed living by myself. I really enjoyed having my studio. It was a nice place as well. Some things were weird, but like nothing is perfect. But yeah, like it was a good time. Sometimes I think that living in London was crazy because it just put me so far behind everyone else, like financially, and just trying like planning for the future and all of that. But now I'm super happy about it. I am so glad I lived in London. I'm so glad I got to, you know, experience my like adventurous self for a little bit before settling down, or for a little bit, for like 8 years. But still, living abroad is honestly like just the richest experience. And I am not one of those people who's like, well, travel is the only thing you pay for that makes you richer. Because I absolutely don't think you should put yourself in like a bad financial situation just to go traveling or live abroad. I did do this, but if my child wanted to do this one day, I would definitely try and make them be more responsible. But I mean, I'm fine. Nothing happened that really impacted my future, so it's fine. I really think that we should, you know, live out our dreams if we want to, like if that's something we want to do. Because you only have this one life, like you need to experience stuff if you want to, because it's better than regretting not doing it. And I know that I would have regretted not doing it, and I'm so glad I did, especially now that I know what I would have missed out on. Like, that's wild. Look at this cool city. You know, wouldn't you want to explore the world and do shit as well? This is such a random spot. I really just think everyone should live abroad and seize the opportunities, if that's something you want to do. Okay, I have talked for so long now, and it's super dark, and you can see the reflection in my eyes, and my screen, my glasses. I feel like I look kind of crazy. A lot of weird shit happened to me in London, and a lot of good shit happened, and I just want to focus on the positives. This is all like a mix of me wanting to inspire other people to follow their dreams, and also to know that most people have screwed up at some point. Like, most people have made mistakes. I've made many, and I came out on the other side, you know, like I'm fine. I'm not saying go out and purposely make mistakes, but it is fine to, you know, be young and explore and just try it out and fail and stuff. You just gotta deal with whatever life throws your way, and whatever you do that kind of makes your life more complicated, but that is part of being young, eh? Okay, I'm gonna stop talking now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it entertaining, and I shall see you later.